So I've been playing the new Lords of the Fallen game and really enjoying myself with it. I want to give you guys a first impressions of the game, and I don't really think I'll be getting a full review out of it. There are reviews out, and I kind of want to compare and contrast what they've been saying with my own experience. And a big reason I probably won't be getting a review out is because I feel pressured to get these videos out as soon as I can for you guys, as well, Spider-Man comes out like this week, so we're definitely going to be playing that. Now, Lords of the Fallen is another Souls-like game, and it's actually one of the first games to try to mimic the From Software, like lightning in a bottle essence, and the first time around on the PS4, it didn't go so hot. Like, it was kind of brought up and kind of forgotten. I didn't really play it myself, but no one really talks about it. Now, they've gone and rebooted the series, and it is actually tons of fun to play. Oh no! They got a free hit on me. If you just recently discovered Souls-like games from Elden Ring, or you played Lies of P, I definitely recommend this one. It is fun to play, it's mechanically, it works well. There are some issues with the frame rates when it comes to more of the cutscenes, and I didn't really get to do any of the multiplayer stuff, but I did notice that it can be choppy here and there with the multiplayer. Side note, it is really cool that you can essentially play the entire game with a friend. Now, unlike Elden Ring, this isn't a open world sprawling Souls-like. If you saw my Lies of P video or you played Lies of P recently, it is going to be linear in the same way that Lies of P is. So if you're looking for another open world game, unfortunately this won't offer that to you. However, the level design is something to be exemplified. It is so well done that even levels where you probably really dislike it, like I was on the side of a mountain with a lot of elevated up and down vertical stuff and I absolutely hated having to go through it, but I couldn't help but enjoy or really appreciate how balanced and honestly creative how the level is built for a player. The mobs in this game are really difficult. They give you a challenge and it's a very satisfying one. Even though they're kind of like mindless zombies that just know how to move forward, there is always a unique way of having to fight these different types of mobs, and the way that they fight themselves gives you something of a different experience and a more fulfilling one whenever you are progressing through the levels. This is where the level design first kicks in. It starts off very easily, almost like every level is giving you a tutorial, letting you have a taste, a sample of what is here for you to fight. And then it gradually progresses, giving you a lot more enemies and more claustrophobic areas and having you deal with them. And just when you think like, oh wow, I can't believe I made it past that, they up the ante on you, and it just gives this rewarding feeling as you get to the end of the level, as you feel like you've really accomplished and defeated a mountain that was ahead of you. To top it off, the biggest gimmick in this game is the ability to traverse through these different worlds, two different planes. I basically call the second one Hell. I'm sure it has a real name, but I forgot it. So when you go through Hell, the map changes, sometimes in subtle ways, other times in very opportunistic ways. I mean, they were red. They were red. That's like universal video game. God damn it. There are times where you can't cross something because a bridge is broken and you pull out your lamp and you can easily cross it. Where there are times where enemies have a spirit from the other world that you must find and kill in order to actually defeat the enemy. And there are times where you can drastically change the gameplay of a certain situation by interacting with that other world. Like fighting a boss, for example. You can bring a stagger to that boss a lot easier by interacting with the other world rather than staying in the main world. Transitioning between two different realms is a gimmick that I've seen for a while now, but most games usually leave it for one particular level, like when Dishonored did it for their time traveling level, or even more recently Starfield did it for their own version of realm hopping and having to get through the map in certain ways and dealing with issues in those ways as well. It's always been such a fun concept. So to see a game fully invest into this and not just make it a gimmick of going back and forth, but something that truly elevates the experience and sets this apart from other Souls-like games is something to be marveled at. You essentially get an extra life because if you die, you go to hell and you can continue fighting there, which can give you to some strategies on how you might want to play. But remember when I said how it can be very opportunistic? Well, some things that can only be interacted with hell, you can force yourself to go to hell, but you lose that extra life. Once you die, you are done. And so it's this kind of thing where it's like, do I want to play it safe? Do I want to take advantage of those opportunities given to me? And sometimes you're forced to do those things. But again, it is very appreciative how much opportunities and freedom they give us in such a linear game with a single game mechanic that they add to it in such a simplistic way. And simplicity has got to be the word of the day here because the game is pretty simple. It doesn't have anything too complex. And I know while I'm trying to describe the game to you guys, it sounds very complex, but it's real easy to just jump in and do what you need to do. There is kind of like a home base, a hub where you can continuously just teleport back to. There's this ease of convenience as you slowly gather and find new things or people that can help you and level up your character, like finding the blacksmith. They will now forever be back at that home base. And I am very grateful for this. I really like it when games act like a game sometimes. I'm okay with breaking that immersion and having that metaverse. I just said metaverse. And having that meta reality of being able to just treat what I'm playing as a game and going back and enjoying it through that quality of life. Speaking of quality of life, let's talk bosses. In this game, you can hear other people and reviewers talk about how the bosses are easier. Now, with someone like me who sucks at these Souls-like games, let me just give you some statistics, a little bit made up, a little bit truthful, just to take it with a grain of salt. Basically, when I was playing Lies of P, on average, it took me around 2 hours to beat the bosses. When I played Lords of the Fallen, on average, it took me around 30 to 45 minutes to beat the bosses. However, I had more fun against the Lords of the Fallen bosses. Their movesets are more telegraphed and they are kind of gimmicky at times, and some of them don't have a lot of variety of attacks. And as much as I respect the idea of having a really hard game, I definitely think that being more challenging is way better than being punishing. I don't think having something to be hard for the sake of being hard makes for good gameplay. I also, probably something controversial here, you guys might hate me for this, but I also don't think that the game should be catered to the small percentage of Souls-like players that essentially make it their job to play through Sekiro or Elden Ring, 5 times. They've beaten the game already and they're doing a different run through and they're doing it naked. I don't feel like the game should be catered to those people. So yes, if you play a lot of Souls-like games and you've played all of them and they're your favorite type of games and you've beaten them multiple times, this game will definitely probably feel easy for you in the boss's realms. I do still think the mobs will give just about anybody a challenge. But I will say, mechanically speaking, as a game, the bosses are made really well. I enjoy a telegraphed attack. I hate when bosses have delayed attacks. I hate when bosses like the Puppet King and Lies of P push you away only for you to have to walk back for him to push you away again. Plus, the bosses just look freaking cool. Which brings me to my next Which brings me to my next point. This game is beautiful in the most scariest of ways. Taking straight from the Goric Gothic horror vibes, this game is stunning to look at. And apparently, if you've played the previous game, there is a lot of callbacks and references to it as you see the fallen hand of a god just sitting out in the world, and the armor that everyone wears and the weapons and the creatures, even to the landscape and how they have plants and stuff set up. It just is really, really freaking metal and awesome. If it sounds like I'm kind of just like raving over this game, it's because I really liked it. It genuinely is just a solidly built game. The biggest problem has to be with the frame rates and has to be with the multiplayer experience giving you a bit of a headache. But I personally never played multiplayer, so I can't tell you guys firsthand how bad it was. All I know is that other people had a hard time with it. On top of that, the frame rates never interrupted my gameplay. You know, I played a little over 20 hours of this game, and it was really only during the cutscenes where I had issues. So nothing got in the way. Plus, there was an update for the game with my drivers, and I really wanted to get in another couple of hours for you guys to let you guys know if the frame rate issue was fixed or not. But I got stuck on this boss. I got stuck on a stupid boss. So I don't know. I know it worked well. It looked good with the boss. Now that I think about it, I could have just like started a new game and then like compared and contrast where my frame rates dropped, and then I should. Sorry, guys. I don't like to give scores to games that I haven't beaten yet. So a theoretical score, I would give like an 8 out of 10 to Lords of the Fallen as of what I've played right now. I didn't get into the details of the weapon building or the systems of stuff like that. It's very much like Dark Souls. Same with the items and stuff. The items don't seem as powerful as they were in Lies of P, but the linear aspect and the level design is really top notch on top of the encounters you have with the mobs, and the bosses are fun to fight against even if they feel easier. I recommend this game to just about anyone. If you're looking to get into Souls game, this is a good starting off point. It's linear, straightforward. There's going to be plenty of people that can give you guides and tips on where to play, how to play. And if you played Souls-likes before, well, this is another game you can do a challenge run or a speed run with and definitely have fun with, because there was a lot more quality here than, well, quantity. For all things 101 on gaming, I'm your digital hero. Until next time, play nice. The quality and quantity thing that I said at the end there, I'm just thinking about like how I love how all these Souls-like clones are being made, and they're just really good games. They're just really nice games that I enjoy to play. Unlike when the battle royales came out and everyone was trying to make a battle royale, and some of them sucked and others didn't suck, and all those other clones that sucked. I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of sucky games. So it's nice that at the end of this year, I got to play something just good. God, Spider-Man comes out this week. Woo! All right, guys. See you later.